Hey, you guys, welcome back. I'm Holly Lightly, and this is Perfume Vegas. I'm doing a tag video today. I wasn't specifically tagged, but when has that ever stopped me from doing whatever I want? I saw this video on Just Jane's channel, and I'll link that below. I believe, okay, she mentioned a lot of people, and I'm not entirely sure which of those people was the one who started this tag, but I believe this started with the channel Terranescence. So I'm going to link that channel below as well. And if I'm wrong, please correct me down below so I can give credit where credit is due. If you want to hear my answers for this 21 questions tag, perfume, non-perfume, and all in between, just keep watching.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall.
All right, you know we're keeping it casual today. I've got the cat t-shirt, the kitten t-shirt. My hair's in the jasmine ponytail. We're not being fancy today. So, for a not fancy day, it needs a fun video. And I love tag videos. I love talking about myself. I know. I'm super self-absorbed. So, how many times did I say so? Anyway, let's begin. The first question is, have you ever been to school for perfumery? No. I have not been to school for perfumery. The closest I've ever been was when I worked for Clinique, and Clinique is owned by Estee Lauder, and so part of my training would be information and training over Clinique and Estee Lauder fragrances at that time. This was back in 2004 or so, so anything after that, I don't know anything about. Anything before that, I can tell you, a pretty good amount about it. But that was where I learned a lot about, like how notes are derived, or not derived, but how notes are conceived, the difference between a note and a chord, what type of ingredients do what in a fragrance, that sort of thing. So it wasn't like perfume school, but I did learn some things about perfumery that I wouldn't have known as just a consumer. Number 2, do you consider yourself addicted to fragrance? As someone who has suffered from actual addictions, no. Trust me, there's a difference. Number 3, what is your first memory of wearing fragrance? My first memory of wearing fragrance was sneaking my dad's Pierre Cardin aftershave. I think it was a splash cologne. It's the one that looks like a golf ball on a little mound, and it unscrews, the top of the cap unscrews, and it smells like manly-ish, just generic masculine scent. I don't think that my mom kept perfume out, like perfume. I know she had scented body creams and scented powders, so I think in that respect, the reason I went and played with my dad's cologne was simply because it was there, it was fun, it was interesting, it was unique, and it was available. So, number 4, what's the first fragrance you purchased with your own money? The first fragrance, I can't think of the very first one, but the first fragrances I purchased with my own money were those Designer Imposters aerosol sprays. I'll put some pictures up. But I think they were like $5, maybe less than that. And every time I went to the drugstore with my mom or my grandma or my friends or whoever, I would check to see if there was a new one in stock that I didn't have already, that there was, maybe one that I liked a lot and I wanted another one, because they had travel sizes and then they had full sizes. I probably had all of them. The two I remembered the most were in a yellow bottle, which was, I believe, Giorgio Beverly Hills. It was the dupe for that, or the recreation of that. And the other one was in a black and red bottle, which I believe was also Giorgio Beverly Hills Red. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Or actually, no, I'll put them up or below. By the way, those smell awful. Don't, if you see them, they still sell them. If you see them, pass. Number 5. What is the oldest fragrance in your collection? The oldest fragrance in my collection is this bottle of Angel. I am taking it as Joss did in her video, where we're talking about the oldest that I own and not the oldest by date of manufacture. In late 2008, there was a fire, house and storage, lost everything, lost all my perfumes. I had to move from Las Vegas back to Idaho for a year to get recuperated. But this was the one I couldn't be without. So this was purchased like as soon as I could. So this is the oldest bottle in my collection. Number 6, fragrance you can't stand to smell. The Via Belle, it gives me a really bad headache. I don't hate the scent, but it just gives me a headache. I haven't smelled any of the flankers, so I can't comment on those. Also, Tom Ford Black Orchid, I just don't like that fragrance. I really don't. It makes me just feel yuck. I don't like the smell. I don't want it on my skin. So those two, I feel really bad because I've had so many people, give me samples and decants like, oh, here, this is popular, so we're going to give it to you. I'm just like, oh, I really can't. Yeah, those two for sure. Number 7, what is your favorite food or cuisine? My favorite food's Indian food. I love Indian food. I find it very comforting. I find it very warming. I just feel happy. Like, it's the perfect, pick-me-up type of food, or the perfect, comfort food. Number 8, referring to foods. Do you prefer sweet or salty or mild or spicy? I would say, well, taste-wise, I can deal with like all of those things. I do have a pretty big sweet tooth, but I think that when it comes to snacking, I'm an equal opportunity sweet versus savory type of snacker. I've gotten to be more so as I've gotten older. When I was younger, it would be sweet, 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 sweet all the time. As for mild versus spicy, I do have to keep foods fairly mild because of my bad guts. If they're too spicy, I do get stomach aches, acid reflux. So spice is not a matter of preference, but just a matter of my physical ability to digest it. Number 9, what is last fragrance that you've purchased? Last fragrance that I purchased was from Floral Street. It is in the mail, and I'm going to do a video on it, so I'm not going to say what it is. Number 10, which fragrance have you been thinking of buying for a long time, but never come around to doing it? Oh, so many. Who of us fragrance lovers don't have a wish list of perfumes that somehow just always get pushed to the back, and you buy something new instead of the thing that's been sitting there on your wish list for a long time? For me, I would say it's probably a 3-way tie between Guerlain Tonka Imperial and Cure Beluga and Chanel Cure de Russe. Those 3 have been on my wish list probably the longest when it comes to fragrances that I need to actually like have a plan to buy. So yeah, those may be eternal wish listers. It's very hard to say. I keep getting samples of Cure de Rousse, and it's just awful. I should buy it. I should. That's what I mean. Number 11. Do you have a dream fragrance but think it's too expensive? That's a good question. I don't think there's one specific. Oh my God. I don't think there's one specific fragrance that I have in mind that I'm just like, whoa, like that's really expensive. I've got to hold off on that. It's more like the concept. I would love to own one of the really ornate gold glass bee bottles from Guerlain. And I know that you can purchase them, but I think they run around $1,000, $1,500 US, even just like starting. So that's what I would love to have, but that price is not. I don't display my fragrances, so to buy a fragrance that is specifically made for display at that price just is not. It's inconceivable. It's inconceivable. Number 12. Which fragrance is the cheapest that you own, and do you like it? The cheapest that I own is the Cuba Jungle Tiger. It is not in here. I actually have it, I just keep it out and I use it like a body spray. I just put some on whenever I feel like my other fragrances are kind of falling off or starting to wear away. And yes, I love it. It's just a bubblegummy kind of white floral fragrance, lots of tuberose, gardenia, magnolia maybe. And it's sweet, it's floral, it's super easy and pretty, and it doesn't smell overly synthetic. So yeah, I do like it. And a 100 ml bottle cost $8. Number 14. Does your partner wear fragrances, and is there one they don't like on you? Yes, he wears fragrances. I like to think that I got him into fragrances. I don't know that he wore a lot of cologne or other purposefully applied fragrance before we met. He was in the military, so I think he maybe just, it was not a thing that he did. But then later on, I had masculine fragrances that I loved already, and so I would gift those to him. So it was like, here, wear this. I've chosen this for you. Now wear it. I think the only one, maybe not the only one, but one of the ones that he has right now that he actually chose from himself and I haven't just like given from my own personal collection is Acqua di Gio. No, is that right? Yeah, Acqua di Gio. It's a really nice everyday scent, so it's not a surprise like that anyone would want to wear it. It's a really easy reach type of cologne. So he is definitely not like a frag head or anything like that, but he wears cologne. As for what he likes or doesn't like on me, I feel like he's kind of a nosmic to perfume that I put on, because I don't know that he can't smell it. It's just more like he's like, oh yeah, that's pretty, or yeah, it's okay, or no, I don't really like it. Like there's never any like serious reaction of like revulsion. The only fragrance I know that he knows when I'm wearing it is Angel, because I've worn it for so long. I was wearing it from when we met. But otherwise, I think it's more like, yes, yeah, you smell fine. I don't pick out fragrances that smell bad, so sorry. I would never be smelling bad because I don't pick out fragrances that smell bad. Yeah, so that's that. Let's see. Number 15, pre-pandemic. Is it common or rare in your area for people to wear fragrance? Well, I live in Las Vegas, so it's very common. You'll have everyone on the strip is going to be wearing fragrance because most of them are tourists. There's a lot of women or men who are trying to attract someone for whatever shenanigans they may want to get into while they're here. So most younger people will be wearing fragrance. Older people tend to feel more comfortable letting loose and not confining themselves to the rigidity of whatever their life back home looks like. So there's older people who will wear either very young smelling fragrances or will heavily douse themselves in their everyday fragrance. And then for those of us who are not tourists, a lot of us worked in hospitality, and a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of places are very adamant that you present yourself your best. So hair done, makeup done, fragrance. So most of these people who are working in hospitality are wearing fragrance at least while they're at work. So yeah, it's pretty common. Number 16. Do you prefer coffee or tea? Overall, I would say that I prefer coffee, but when it comes to just sitting back and enjoying a hot beverage, it's really equal. It's just whatever I'm in the taste for. I've had some really amazing tea services, but then there's really beautiful coffees out there as well. So yeah, it's pretty equal. If I had to choose one, if I had to give up one and, pick the other, I would choose coffee, but otherwise I like them both. Number 17. Do you wear fragrances marketed towards the opposite sex? Yeah, I do. I think that a lot of us do. To be honest, I don't know that there's a lot of people who are this deep into fragrance, who don't wear at least one or two fragrances that are marketed towards the opposite sex. I know there's a lot of people who don't consider purchasing them because they're just, they're not buying a large number of fragrances, so they don't need to have or don't feel like they want to have something that's marketed towards the opposite sex in their collection, or not even a collection, like on their nightstand, like if they have one or two perfumes. But for somebody who's on YouTube talking about, oh my God, my leg fell asleep. Ugh. For somebody who's on YouTube talking about perfume, talking about the ins and outs of perfumes and their collection, yeah, absolutely. This comes down to more a taste in notes, a preference of notes. Some people prefer what are more traditionally masculine notes, and some people prefer what are more traditionally feminine notes. Some people don't see a difference, and it's all fine. The only thing holding back someone who thinks they prefer traditionally feminine fragrances from liking a masculine scent is the marketing that's presented to them that tricks their mind into thinking it has to be one way or the other. So in that instance, in that type of scenario, I think everyone can enjoy every fragrance. Just find what notes you like, what combination of notes you like, and look for that in scent, whether it's marketed as a masculine fragrance or a feminine fragrance. Number 18. When traveling, do you take full bottles or decants or samples? So when I travel, I will usually take one or maybe two travel size sprays. Usually I'll take Angel, and then maybe something else, maybe something a little bit darker. I'm trying to think what I have. It doesn't matter what I take. And then I take samples because I have so many of them, and it doesn't matter if they break or they get lost or I use them up. I don't have to think too hard about whether a certain scent is going to fit a certain occasion because I do have a choice. I still have a fragrance wardrobe with me. You can carry them on the plane. You don't have to pack them in the you don't have to you don't have to check them, like put them in checked luggage. So it's really easy to just grab a handful of samples, pick out my favorites, and chuck them in my travel bag, my carry-on. And that's it. Don't spray perfume on a plane, people. Just a heads up. I learned the hard way as a teenager that other people find that very offensive. So, alrighty. Number 19. Pre-pandemic, do you typically receive compliments on fragrances? No, not... okay. Nah, okay. I do not receive compliments on specific fragrances. Like, somebody isn't going to come up to me normally and be like, oh my god, you smell amazing. What fragrance are you wearing? And I'll be like, Angel. No, that doesn't normally happen. But I do receive a lot of compliments in the manner of, like, baristas at Starbucks, or retail sales associates, or food waiters or waitresses who will say, like, oh, you smell great, or I love that perfume, or I love the way you smell, or something along those lines, who compliment just the generic, who will compliment just my general fragrance cloud. Tell me I smell good. I've had people tell me I smell good when I haven't been wearing any perfume at all, so maybe I just smell good naturally. But compliment on specific fragrances, the only ones I've ever been complimented on are Angelique Noir from Guerlain, or Boho, or Bond Number 9, Nuit de Noho. And number 20, do you wear fragrance when home alone? That's when I wear the most fragrance, is when I'm home alone. I will put on 5 different fragrances. The other day my partner was walking by the window. I had just gotten some new scents in, and I'd put them on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he was like, oh, I could smell you through the open window. And when I'm alone, I just will go crazy. Like, sometimes there'll be new fragrances that I want to try a bunch of different ones, or I'll have samples that I want to try a bunch of different ones, and sometimes there'll just be scents that I want to wear that I haven't worn in a long time, or that I'm really kind of craving, and I'll just put them all on, because life is too short. Like, I already lost all my perfume once. Like, life is too short to be hoarding the perfumes, so wear it. Number 21, do you wear fragrances for yourself or to hopefully receive a compliment? I don't think that anyone out there is answering that they are only wearing fragrances to receive compliments, because if that were the case, if you were just seeking compliments, there's a lot easier and quicker ways to get them than by having people try to like and appreciate and verbalize that about your fragrance. So anyway, that being said, obviously wearing perfume is for myself. I personally love fragrance of all kinds, whether it's the cheapest of the cheapies, or the most expensive luxury or niche. I love fragrance of all kinds because it is just it's an art that you can wear. It is similar to having a passion for wine, or being maybe like a whiskey connoisseur. It is in the same kind of family as those, because you're using a lot of your olfactory senses. But it's also very similar to a composition or a poem or a painting, in that there was someone behind the scent that created a vision, whether it was their vision or a brand or a house's vision, doesn't matter. Someone behind the fragrance created a vision and bottled it. And so you are uniquely capturing something that can be both articulated through taste and smell, as well as can be articulated through the idea of a visual interpretation, a tactile interpretation in some ways, and by getting a mental image of the fragrance and the creation, and the thought that went behind it. Whether you imagine the same thing that the nose of the fragrance imagined when they were making it doesn't matter, because that's the whole point of art. Art is subjective to all of our personal life stories. And so, to put a long rambling thought short, perfume is like a story, a life story in a bottle, and every time you wear it, you release that part of you. So I hope that was a significantly interesting enough answer for you. I really like doing these kinds of questions because I love being provoked into thought, as well as share parts of me with you. Never fear, you will be seeing this as a bonus video, which you already are seeing, so you know. And I will see you on Friday with a fragrance video. I don't know what it is going to be yet. I have a few possibilities, so hope you'll stick around for that. You can do so by subscribing and turning on the notifications. It's just that little bell. It goes ding, ding when you click it, and then you'll know on Friday what video has gone up, or if there's any other bonus videos that come through me to you. Like this video, leave me a comment, let me know if any of this resonated with you, if you feel the same way about anything, or if you feel totally opposite. I love to hear that. I love having conversations with you in the comments. So go ahead, do that now, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.